Hi, I'm Zoey Yost, and this year for my scenario, I researched cupcakes, different variations and flavors, and for this project I came down to one. I'm going to be making a triple chocolate cupcake with chocolate icing and a chocolate ganache filling. So first I'm going to start with mixing the dry ingredients in a bowl together and adding the rest of the dry ingredients. It's actually important to keep these separated, because if you combine them all at once, you could accidentally overmix it. And overmixing can do one of two things. It can add gluten bonds, which makes a very chewy taste instead of a light, fluffy, airy taste that you want. Or it can also break those gluten bonds and make a very thin, runny cupcake or cake. And that's never good, because then it's not going to bake properly. It's going to be very runny, or it will turn out flat, and that's really not good. Okay, so now I'm going to add in the wet ingredients, and I'm going to crack the eggs in a separate bowl. And I like to do this just because nobody likes to eat shells in their anything. So I crack them in a separate bowl just to make sure I don't get any of the shells in, because once they're in the batter, it's kind of hard to get them out. So let's do that. Then add them here. And then next I'm gonna add the buttermilk to the dry ingredients. And actually a lot of people don't know the difference between buttermilk and milk. And the difference is buttermilk has more acid in it, which balances with the sugar inside the cupcake, and it can be substituted with many things if you don't have it. For example, it's actually a weird substitution, but you can substitute it for milk with lemon in it and boil it to give it that acid that it normally has. But it's not very substitutable, and well, you can't substitute it with regular milk, which a lot of people do. So anyways, I'm just gonna combine these until they're just mixed together, making sure not to overmix it. I wanna get it to a good consistency. And buttermilk actually adds a fluffy texture. And that's also what baking soda and baking powder do. Baking soda and baking powder each do their own thing, and they both help to rise and add carbon dioxide to the cupcake to make it rise. So okay, so I have this mixed up. So I'm gonna set this aside and bake it at 350. And it's always good to preheat your oven before you start anything. So before I do that, while that's baking, I am gonna make the chocolate ganache. And it's right here. I actually have it pre-made because you have to freeze it and chill it in the fridge for 30 minutes before you can use it to just get it solidified. Because all it is just heavy cream and semi-sweet chocolate chips. And when you put it in the middle, it gives it a very soft texture, and it makes the cupcake really moist. And I also like to slightly underbake my cupcakes just to make them the perfect, not crunchy or elasticy feel. And then next, I also made the icing, which wasn't that hard. It's already in the piping bag right here. And while it's still baking, I'm going to show you the different types of tips and how to properly put it on. So what you do is there's this ring right here, and you can take that off like this. You can take it off, and this tip that's on it also comes off with it. So you can take that tip off, exchange it for another tip, and put that on, and then put this white thing back on and screw it fully onto it, and you're ready to go. And I actually have a pre-made one right here, and I use a slightly bigger tip for that. So yeah, these are some fun ones. You can do like different types of swirls and stuff. This one makes a grass type consistency, on it. So you can pretty much do whatever you want. I just like to do swirls. But the cupcakes are done now. And so I'm gonna put the ganache filling in. And not all cupcakes have ganache filling or filling of any kind, but I like to put it in. So just put it in right here. It doesn't take that much longer either. All you have to do is just scoop out a little hole and stuff. And then you can swirl the icing over top of it. So I'll get these. There we go. And then after this, I'm gonna put the icing on. And the icing, actually, there's many different types of icing, but the best ones for cupcakes are buttercream because it holds its shape. Because most people do designs when they ice cupcakes. And buttercream holds a shape really nice. Unlike some other ones like royal icing, for example, more for cookies, and it hardens on the top. And it would not be good to put on a cupcake. Just buttercream just works so much better. So I'm gonna put it over here, and I'll show you. I'm gonna take this tip, and I'm gonna try to ice this. And it's all about hand control. A lot of people, they don't like to use the hand control. They just kind of hold it at the bottom. They hold it near the middle of the bag, but you want to hold it at the top of the bag, and you really use your palm to let it out, which gives you more control and where you want it to be. So just do that. Okay. There we go. Here's one done. I did a nice little swirl on top, and after I'm gonna put some toppings on. You can put chocolate sprinkles if you want, but I like to do a mixture of cocoa powder and powdered sugar, because cocoa powder by itself is way too strong. So here's the second one. It's just like a cornrow. I'll do one more. And these are just different types too. I just wanted to show the different ones that you can do. And they're pretty easy too. A lot of people think they're harder than they are, but you just have to have control of your hand. And once you do that, it really helps. It helps you control it where you want it to go. And so here is the last one. And then I'm just gonna put these right here and show the topping. So I just get this mixture of cocoa powder and powdered sugar and just sprinkle that on top. And it gives it a nice consistency. You do have to wait until the icing is a little drier though, so that it doesn't absorb into the icing. And you have to make sure your icing's not that wet. And how you achieve that is, a lot of people actually don't use different types of butters, but you're supposed to use unsalted butter, so that it doesn't melt like salted butter does. And a lot of people don't know, but unsalted butter you can just keep out and you don't have to put it in the fridge. So these are my finished cupcakes. They're all done. They have the filling, they have the icing, the cupcake, and the topping. So thank you, that's all. I hope you enjoyed.